Hi friends, if you are an exporter and not very sure about which payment terms will be suitable for your export business, then I'm going to share different type of payment terms prevalent in the international trade. If you are an exporter, you would first try to find and negotiate with the overseas buyer for export of goods. Never lose potential business to competitors by overlooking different payment options which could be attractive to your international buyer. Explore several payment methods and find the one best suited to your needs. To succeed in today's global marketplace and win sales against foreign competitors, exporter must offer their customers attractive sales terms supported by appropriate payment method. Because getting paid in full and on time is the ultimate goal for each export sale, an appropriate payment method must be chosen carefully to minimize the payment risk while also accommodating the need of the importer. One of the key decisions to be made when an exporter or importer negotiate a sales contract is the selection of the terms of payment. The selection of which payment term is used will largely depend on a number of issues, including the relationship between the importer and exporter, working capital facility availability to the exporter and importer, countries involved in the transaction. There are four basic terms of payment. Those are advance payment, documentary credit, that we call it letters of credit, LC we know, documentary collection, and open account. In this slide, you will be able to see payment in advance is the most suitable for the seller because it carries hardly any risk, lowest risk will be there, and risk will keep on increasing for the seller, like from advance payment to documentary credit means LC, then documentary collection, and then open account. So open account is the highest risk for the seller, and opposite to that, open account is the lowest risk for the buyer, and payment in advance would be the highest risk for the buyer. Advance payment. In advance payment terms, payment is done by an importer to the exporter before shipment of the goods. For exporter, it is most safest. From the exporter's point of view, receiving payment in advance to the shipment is an ideal situation as it will eliminate all risks associated with non-payment. Since payment is already received, then only shipment need to be done. For importer, it is most riskier. From the importer's point of view, advance payment carries the highest risk as it is wholly dependent on the exporter shipping the correct goods in accordance with the contract. In addition, payment in advance can create cash flow problem for the importer as it has to wait to receive the goods. However, acquiring payment in advance is the least attractive option for the importer because it creates unfavorable cash flow. Foreign buyers are also concerned that the goods may not be sent if payment is made in advance. Thus, exporters who insist on this payment method on their sale banner of doing business may lose to competitors who offer more attractive payment terms. How advance payment works? So, seller is there, buyer is there, they will have the contract where they would agree that payment terms would be advance payment. So, basis this sales contract, importer will request his bank to remit the fund to the exporter's bank, and when payment is received by the exporter will ship the goods to the buyer. Documentary credit, letters of credit, LC. LC is an irrevocable undertaking by an issuing bank, that is importer's bank, given to the exporter that payment will be made to the exporter if documents as per LC terms and conditions are presented. Issuing banks, this undertaking is irrespective of whether importer has sufficient fund in the account or not. So in this case, exporter, that is beneficiary of the LC, is least worried about whether importer will make the payment or not because it is bank's undertaking given to him. If the exporter is not able to negotiate the advance payment terms, then the next best payment option will be LC. Exporter will be assured that once shipment is done and documents as per LC terms and conditions are presented to the bank, his payment is assured by the issuing bank. Importer also gets the comfort under LC that he has to pay for the goods only when goods are shipped and documents as per LC terms and conditions are received by his bank, that is issuing bank. LC is governed under UCP 600. How LC works? There will be sales contract between exporter and importer, and they will agree in that the payment terms would be LC. So importer as an applicant of the LC will request his bank to issue LC in favor of exporter. Based on the importer's request, issuing bank, if sufficient limit is available and request is in order, will issue LC in favor of exporter. Exporter will become beneficiary of the LC and LC will be advised through advising bank. When exporter receives the LC, he will scrutinize each and every terms of the LC, and once he is satisfied with the terms and condition of the LC, he will ship the goods and presents the documents as per LC terms to his bank. Bank will forward the documents to the issuing bank. If documents are as per the terms and condition of the LC, issuing bank will pay to the exporter's bank and ultimately exporter will get the payment under LC. Documentary collection. In a documentary collection, an exporter will ship the goods, but instead of sending the documents directly to the importer, what he would do, he would instruct exporter's bank, his own bank, who will be called as remitting bank, to forward the documents related to the exporting of goods to the importer's bank, requesting importer's bank to present these documents to the importer for payment. As per instruction, the importer's bank presents the documents to the importer for payment, and when payment is made by the importer, what they do, they remit the fund to the exporter's bank and ultimately exporter receives the payment. Documentary collection can be of two types. DP basis, documents against payment. You can say this is a site bill. DP is good for the exporter as the documents of title to the goods will be given to the importer, only he makes the payment. So exporter payment is much assured. Another type of documentary collection would be DA basis, documents against acceptance. This will be the case of usance bills. DA is much riskier for the seller than DP as the documents of title to the goods will be given to the importer after acceptance of usance draft. In this case, importer will take the possession of the goods and will make the payment on due date. In case importer does not make the payment on due date, exporter cannot demand the due amount from the presenting bank like in case of LC. The role of the banks in documentary collection is limited. They do not verify the documents, they do not take risk, or nor do they guarantee payment. Banks just control the flow of the documents. With documentary collections, the bank does not cover credit or country risk. However, they are more convenient and more cost-effective than LC and can be useful if the exporter and importer have a good relationship and if the importer is situated in a politically and economically stable market. Documentary collection is governed by URC 522. How documentary collection works? Seller will be there, buyer will be there. Both will have sales contract where they would agree that payment will be made under documentary collection. So, basis that, seller will ship the goods and prepare the documents and presents the documents to his bank. Seller's bank, who will be called as a remitting bank, will forward the documents to the collecting or presenting bank. This is the importer's bank, and importer bank will present the document to the buyer, or you can say importer. So if collection is on DP basis, documents against payment means after payment, documents will be given to the buyer and payment will be remitted by the importer's bank to exporter's bank. If the collection is on DA basis, documents against acceptance, documents will be given to the importer once he accepts the draft drawn on him. And when importer makes the payment on due date, it will be remitted to the exporter's bank. Thus, exporter will receive the payment against his export. Open account. Open account is most riskier for the exporter, whereas it is most safest for the importer. In open account payment terms, exporter dispatches the goods to the importer and sends the documents also directly to the importer asking for payment on a specified date. Goods are usually consigned to the importer. A set date for payment is generally agreed and the importer remits the necessary funds to the seller as per that agreed terms. Open account transactions shows the exporter has full trust on the importer and exporter is reliant on the trustworthiness and creditworthiness of the importer to pay. Once goods have been dispatched, the exporter will lose all control over payment. Usually it is done when exporter and importer has good past experience with each other. Most of the world trade are done on an open account basis because it is fast and cheaper to other mode of payment. Because of the intense competition in export market, foreign buyers often praise exporters for open account terms, since the extension of credit by the exporter to the importer is more common abroad. Therefore, exporters who are reluctant to extend credit may lose a sale to their competitors. Exporters can offer competitive open account terms while substantially mitigating the risk of non-payment by obtaining export credit insurance from ICICI. Bank's role in open account will be limited to handling the remittances. How open account works: exporter and importer will have sales contract wherein they will agree that payment terms would be open account basis. In that case, seller will ship the goods and will directly send the documents to the importer, and importer, after receipt of documents and goods, will make the payment as per the sales contract, and he will instruct his bank to remit the fund to the seller's account, and ultimately exporter would get the payment for his export. It is possible to use different payment terms in one single export order. Like if you have got export order for 50,000, it is possible to get 20% advance, USD 10,000, and for 80%, you may get LC, export LC, USD 40,000. Or you have got export order for 50,000, 20% advance, and rest documentary collection DP basis, documents against payment basis, or export order for USD 50,000, advance 20%, then 80% could be against documentary collection DA basis. Summary of risk between exporter and importer using different type of payment. Open account basis, goods will be received by the importer before payment, when it will be paid as per contract, and it will be very highest risk for the exporter and it will be very less riskier for the importer. Documentary credit LC, goods will be received by the importer as per LC terms and condition, whether it is a site or usance. If it is site, then goods will be received only after making the payment, but in case LC is of usance terms, then payment will be made on later date and goods will be received by the importer prior to payment. When it will be paid as per LC terms, maybe site or usance. Documentary collection DA terms means documents against acceptance. Goods will be received before making the payment. When it will be paid as per the due date of the draft, it will be more riskier for the exporter than the DP basis collection, and it will be low riskier for the importer because payment need not have to be made immediately. Collection against payment DP basis. In this case, goods will be received by the importer only when he makes the payment, when payment will be made on presentation of documents. Exporter risk low, but if the importer refuses payment, goods will need to be sorted, resold or returned by the exporter. For importer, risk will be low. Payment in advance. In this case, importer will receive the goods only after making the payment, because exporter will ship the goods only when he receives the payment in advance, when this needs to be paid before shipment. What is the risk for the exporter? Zero risk. What is the risk for the importer? Highest risk. Hi, I am Isaac Tudu. Basically, I am an ex-banker having more than 25 years of banking experience with State Bank of India and ICICI Bank in the area of trade finance. Now I help the SMEs and bankers in the area of trade finance. I hope this video would have given value to you. If you are an exporter and wanted to know which payment terms would be most suitable for you. If that is the case, I would like to request you to like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.